everybody, it's Craig from Doc Sports, back with Robert, and we are back with your Docs Daily. Docs Daily every day, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Monday through Friday, and 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on weekends. On weekends, a little bit different, a little more question and answer, but if you do have questions, of course, put it in the comments section. We'll try to get to it, and obviously, if it's not one of our best plays, we'll kind of at least break down what we think. Also, don't forget, if you haven't done so, make sure you check out the free $60. That's this time of year. People think like they go crazy, and then sometimes they get themselves in trouble, and we can help you. But you got to get in with us. DocSports.com/free60. You get a $60 account for new customers. But if you're an existing customer, you obviously can't get the $60, but you can go to the grid and then get in on some deals as well over there. So make sure you do so. I do have a little 7-unit play in CFL tonight, so look to keep my 8-2 run going. Robert, what do you have? Anything big tonight?
No, hit my 7-unit WNBA last night. Me and everybody else. There's like 4 guys on the same play, and normally that doesn't.
There was 2, right? There was 2 last night. There was a big WNBA and a big CFL. Everybody was both on the exact same plays.
Yeah,
and they both won. So that's like you said. That's oops. That's always like somewhat curse of death.
Right. It's no different than normal betting. When everybody's on one side, that's when you walk to the other counter and bet the other side. But no, I hit my 7-unit WNBA. I've been ice cold for about 7 weeks now in baseball. So I'm passing in baseball. I'm excited about college football tomorrow, even though my top game isn't until next Thursday. My top game is in that Boise State, South Florida game. Next Thursday, it's an early game. I don't know why they rescheduled it to then. I don't know why they didn't put it on like Sunday or Monday night or something like that. Make it a standalone. But yeah, that's it. Slow day today.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still the same. It used to be teams love to play on that Thursday because that meant you got to open camp 3 days earlier than if you or 2 days earlier than if you would on Saturday. I don't know if that's still the case. That if football they just said, hey, everybody gets started at the same time, but it used to be where you would see they would pick up like a nobody team. You'd play the 1AA school early, so really you got like an extra week of practice and plus 2 days than everybody else. So I don't know if that's still the case, but 5 games this weekend. So and we've got I've got a 5-unit play tomorrow. I know Nick has one.
There's a fair amount. Like I was kind of expecting, like in the past, usually we'll see like 5 guys on one game type of thing, but we have a pretty equal distribution. Like there's 2 guys on the game that you're on, you and one other. There's a total in that UNLV game that's floating out there. A couple guys are in on that Stanford Hawaii game. Strike Point Sports has something in that Sam Houston Western Kentucky game, I believe. So yeah, we got some big plays. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I'm a little like I like 3 of the games. To be very honest, like to watch. One that I like to bet, but I think there'll be 3. I think decent games. I think that Kansas game is going to be better than people think. At least for most part of the game, I think it'll be better. So, because week 1, you don't expect always like the best of games. Like, this isn't week 1, week 0.
Yep.
But I think this is not a terrible card.
Kane Dog, which thank you for taking time out of your day. He just asked anything on KU. So let's dive into that one. It sounds like you kind of like Fresno State a little bit. That number is waffled, started at 14.5, came down to 12.5. We've had a little bit of a buyback on Kansas, so now that number is creeping back up to 13.5. I mean, liking Fresno State as you do, I feel like it's pretty easy, right? Like some of the numbers that we talked about on the Docs Football Release Show last night, those week 0 underdogs have been money in the bank. 18-10 in week 0 against the spread have been underdogs since 2019, and 15-6 against the spread for underdogs in week 0 over the last 3 seasons. So that just on speculate it. Now, to play devil's advocate here for you, Kansas opening that new stadium. Okay, that multi-million-dollar renovation, they got brand new stadium. They're going to have a packed house. They're going to have a good home field advantage. They are the better team. A lot of moving parts with Fresno State. Like they had their new coach. Is it Matt Entz? Is that his name? I am not sold on this guy. Like he came from North Dakota State, I think it was originally. But I mean, you and I feel like could coach at North Dakota State and still win some games, right? And then he left last year, and they got better after he left. So he's a little bit questionable. A lot of new players, just a lot of new moving parts versus Kansas. power team.
What's Daniels? Is he like, this is his 7th year playing? I felt like I've been watching him play for like 7 years.
I do only think it's his 5th year. And you know what? I got to tell you, it's a damn shame because, like, what was it, 2 years ago when he had his breakout? 3 years ago,
maybe 2 or 3 when they were undefeated, right? Going into like 6, 7, week 7.
Yep. But when he was having that season, watching him play, I swear to God, Craig, I remember saying to somebody, I was like, if I were an NFL team, that's who I would take. Like he remember how Jaden Daniels played last year for what? Like that's what Jalen Daniels looked like when he was going good. Yep. Injuries have disrupted him, but I still think that kid is awesome. Like I think he's really, really
crazy that he didn't transfer though. Like I mean, what he was, like you said a couple years ago, don't you think there would be like some big name like Daniels did, where he transferred from Arizona State to LSU? So that worried me a little bit about him because it's like, and it's a positive, I guess, if you're like, hey, he's loyal, or maybe no other team liked him.
That's the way I'm taking it, is that he's just loyal to a program that gave him a shot. Like there is no doubt that like any number of Power 4 conference like schools would take him. Like he would start at 90% of the schools. Maybe 85% of schools in college football right now. So maybe he just likes Kansas.
Power 5, or Power 4 now, maybe he was looking around and there just wasn't a better situation. Like, let's be honest. We talked about it yesterday. The Big 12 is pretty wide open. If you're Kansas, you're like, dude, if things fall, like any Big 12 team, you're probably thinking, look what Arizona State did last year. Look where they came from. Like, hey, if things bounce right, we could end up in the playoff just because it's a pretty wide open. There's not Texas and Oklahoma in there just smashing teams anymore.
Right.
Like there's just not a, perennial like team that has going. I just think a different team's going to win that conference pretty much every year, in my opinion.
Oh, 1,000%.
Which is awesome because like you see the Big Ten, you see the SEC, it's like the handful of teams that are pretty much, this is who's going to win the next 20 years.
I cannot abide by anyone complaining about the state of college athletics right now, like ragging against the transfer portal. Like I'm not going to go on my soapbox rant here, but the bottom line of this is that with the transfer portal in basketball and football, talent is so much more equally distributed across the country, and that just makes it a better product. That just makes it better. You don't have these top 10 teams hoarding all of this talent where there is a huge discrepancy between those top 10 teams and everybody else. No, that talent is equally distributed across the country now, and it makes for a better sport. Exactly what you're saying. The Big 12 is much more exciting if every year you go into it and one of 14 teams has a chance to win it. Like that just makes it better.
Yeah, I the only thing that does worry me about college sports is it's just there's just so many moving parts at all times. How do you promote? Like in market, if you're a university, if you're college football in general, because you just don't know. You can't be like, hey, we're going to spend 3 years. We got this great recruiting class, say college basketball more so. You got this great, like the Fab 5 type recruiting class, and these kids are going to stay here a couple years. No. If they don't go pro, they're freaking probably, going to be somewhere else. And that's tough to me. And, the days of watching, Steph Curry when he was a freshman and made that run, and then you came back, you got to watch him play for 2 more years. That would never happen today. One, he would either be in the NBA or he would be at, like his brother did, Duke.
I mean, look, I agree. Like it definitely hurts college basketball more because college or basketball just in general is so much more about chemistry and cohesion. It's a more artistic sport. So it relies on that intangible connection between the 5 guys versus football, which is less about chemistry and cohesion and more about like smashing people in the face.
Jimmy's and Joe's. That's it.
Right.
Dudes, faster dudes.
It does hurt college basketball more, and that makes it more challenging to handicap that way. But look, we still have those same issues in college football. There's some teams, those Texas Techs, those Miamis, Florida State last year and again this year. There are teams that brought in a lot of transfers. These guys are mercenaries, right? They're coming to these schools for NIL money and for a chance to, make the playoffs so they can promote their brand. These teams like Texas Tech, if those guys get off to a slow start this year, if they lose a couple games in September or early in the season, they're going to check out. Maryland's coach, Mike Locksley, said, I lost the locker room last year because of NIL, and that was at friggin' Maryland. Florida State, that's 100% what happened. They lost their first 2 games, and all those transfers were like, show me the door, man. I'm done. Like, they quit on their coach. So we're going to have some more of those situations, and that's one of the things I'm kind of watching for at these transfer-heavy programs.
To me, it's kind of like the free agent. And remember the back when it was the Redskins, they would go get like the biggest name free agent every year, and they never won anything. It was like, we'll see if that happens in college football, where it's like you just can't just buy your team, which is what teams are trying to do. Kentucky basketball tried to buy their team every year, like basically getting these guys to the NBA somewhat, and that never really worked. I mean, he's got 1 title with all those guys in the NBA. So to me, Ohio State did a little bit last year. A little bit, but a lot.
That's
a lot of homegrown talent too.
You have to recruit. You have to have a foundation in place. You have to have good schemes, and then you just add players where you need them. Penn State did that this year, right? Like a lot of the core of that team are their recruits, their homegrown guys. But you know what? They needed receivers. The receivers stunk, so they went out and got Pena from Syracuse. They went out and got the other kid whose name is escaping me. Boom! That's just like Ohio State going out and getting Quinton Junkins last year. Like, they're like, we have 1 good running back for the style of play. We need 2. Let's go bring a guy in. So, that's where Clemson has missed the boat. They started to do it a little bit this year. They started to sprinkle in some transfers, but it's like, hey, Dabo, I get it. You want to build your program from the inside out. That's the way to do it. But you still have to supplement yourself here. There's too much talent flying around to just be like, no, we're not going to take any transfers.
You can't put your head in the sand, because eventually freshmen against seniors, and sometimes 5th-year seniors, that's a big difference.
Yeah,
big difference in the way play. So to me, you have to sprinkle it in. We'll see over the next couple of years how that it does. Now, how does it affect handicapping? To me, I just going to have to wait. Like, I'm going to play a lot less games the first week or 2, and rated games as well. Like, and when I say rated games, when we say that, it means less top plays. So yeah, I might have a play, but instead of maybe a 6 or 7 unit play, probably more be like a 3 or 4 unit play. Because I feel a lot better 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks in when I see, okay, how did these guys come in? How is the chemistry? Like you said, Ohio State, you bring in the hired gun, or Penn State. Does that kind of, everybody knows that guy, it's pretty out there now, 1.5 million or 1 million.
Sure.
How does that affect the other receivers? Are they going to because you still need more than 2. So that's the kind of stuff I think you have to wait and see how that affects teams. I don't worry about it in the non-power 4. That's sometimes why I kind of look for a lot of those teams, the hidden gem type teams. I don't know about you, Robert, but I think because there's less just about the money. It's not like, hey, I'm going to Western Kentucky and getting $5 million.
I mean, yes and no, but like I stopped with the mid-major and smaller conferences a few years ago. I just didn't do well in like the Sun Belt, and the MAC and stuff like that. So I scrapped that a long time ago. The problem is that those kids play well, and then they transfer up. So now all these like mid-major teams, they're all new kids. There's way more turnover at the bottom of college football in terms of conference strength, not teams. But there's way more turnover at those mid-major and small major teams than there are at the big ones, because where are those kids going? You know what I mean? So that makes it, I feel like, a lot harder to handicap.
An early season, I think, test that we're going to see, because both these teams have a lot of transfers. OU, Ohio University, which is the closest school to when I live in my house in Southeast Ohio, plays West Virginia. West Virginia's playing at OU. West Virginia bought all the tickets. They bought all the tickets. It's basically going to be almost all West Virginia fans. West Virginia has the most turnover in college football. Rich Rod, literally, I think he has 10 guys left from last year's team, something stupid.
Probably a bunch of guys from Jacksonville State, too.
So it's I don't know how that will be like.
Ohio losing their head coach, too, Tim Albin. Leo, where do you go to Wake Forest? Is that where he went? I think he went to Wake. He went to the ACC.
Right.
Pretty sure.
And they did hire within there, so I think that at least helps them. But I that'd be because you have a Power 4 conference school early in the year going there, and then I think they play Ohio State, right? West Virginia plays Ohio State the next week or something.
No, that doesn't sound right, because they play Pitt at home in week 3. Well, I know the backyard brawl is early, so it's probably Ohio Schlub FCS team Pitt. That's probably it. I can look it up. But look, hold on a second. You don't have one game. I mean this in all sincerity. There's nothing that you've been waiting 2 months to bet. next week or to release or something like that. There's not one game on next week's card that you're like, oh, please let that number stay where it is. Please let that number stay where it is.
There's 3 that I like I'm choosing between my top play. Now, it's like that finite. Is it going to be 4, 5, 6 units? That's always where I'm, like that in that range.
Yep.
And which one of those I release? Probably the other 2 will be on the card as well, but probably just less, more like 2, 3 unit plays. So it'll be interesting. But just so much. Heck, 2 of them, I don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be.
Right.
I
got one of those too. One of my favorite plays. There's like 2 or 3 guys that still might play in the first game.
I mean, I get it. A lot of times it is splitting hairs between 2 really good quarterbacks. But dude, if you are at and 2 of them are supposed to be top 20, like top 20 teams, maybe even playoff teams, you don't know who your starting quarterback is now. You had spring practice. You've had, 3 weeks of practice. Like,
dude, just pick a guy, dude.
At some point, you just like, hey, we're going to go, or say, hey, this could be the starter, but the other guy's going to get probably equal playing time. So and maybe they have said that, they just don't want to release it because then scouting reports or something. I don't know. It just seems a little suspicious.
There is something else that you and I didn't get to talk about. And if you didn't watch it, Doc's Football Release Show, Thursdays, 6 o'clock. Craig was on with me, along with Scott Spreitzer, Jason Sharp, Rafael Esparza, an hour of very good information yesterday to get you primed for week 0. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because you kind of hinted at it yesterday on Doc's Daily, you said you had something in the Western Kentucky, Sam Houston State. I'm very interested, like, what your read is on that game, because I have a bet down on one of the sides, but I want to get your opinion on that.
I think this is a closer game than what the line suggests. Like last year, they played this is the 3rd year they played, right?
Yeah, this is Sam Houston's 3rd year. And
so 28, the first year, they won 28-23. Western Kentucky, Sam Houston covered by 10. Last year was Western Kentucky was only, they were underdog by 1 and won 31-14. But if I remember that, it wasn't as bad as what that final score. I just think this is a much closer game than what this line suggests. I feel like and last year I did really well late with Sam Houston. So I do have a little bias where I think they covered 5 of their last 6 weeks, if I remember. And I was on, those were a lot. Remember, they were playing those midweek games. That Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday type games. And I was on them several times, did very well. I just think this is a team that is feisty, and I just don't think that Western Kentucky offense is going to be as good as what they've been or maybe not right away. So I think it's a great spot for the underdog here.
But this is exactly what we were talking about earlier, where Sam Houston State, they lost everybody.
They lost a lot.
They lost everybody. Casey Keeler, their head coach, went to Temple, which is why I'm going to like Temple this year as like a plus 26 underdog in conference play, right? Like they're still bad, but in conference play, I feel like they're going to be a juicy bet later in the season because he's such a good coach. But they lost their coach. They lost like 80%, 85% of their production. Like they lost everybody. They're done.
I think the offensive coordinator is the one that took the job there.
But he didn't.
I always liked that.
Yeah.
Because at least you feel like, and you feel like the recruiting, like the kids have a shot to maybe stay there. Some kids might follow, you know what I mean? The head coach, you never know. But if you like that, you're from that area, you want to kind of be in that area of the country, then I think those kids will at least have a propensity to stay there. So I just think Western Kentucky lost a lot too.
They did.
It's just this type of conference at this level, you're going to have to replace lots of guys. I just thought Sam Houston's building something there, and I did not think it would be this quick. To be very honest, I thought this would take them several more years to kind of do what they did, but they were a nice, juicy underdog play many times last year, and so I might be a little. And this is why I didn't play this as a top play or as even a rated play.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that I know myself. I'm a little biased because I did so well with them last year. It was like, what was it? Cooper Rush at Central Michigan. One year they went like 11-2 against the spread that year, or 11-1. It was a crazy number. You just bet them every week. And then the following year, they were like 6-5 or something. But it was like early in the year they didn't come close to covering because everybody remembered what they did before. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to handicap myself. So that's why I stayed away from it.
I used Western Kentucky in a teaser, Just again, I got a little spooked by those numbers, those against the spread numbers.
Yeah.
I just don't see them losing that game. I just don't, and
So
I'm
like
not
a 5-6 point teaser, something like that.
7-point teaser, tease it down to 3. I use that for my own personal bets. I use that in a couple different teasers because I just don't see them losing the game. Like the 3 teams, like real early in the season: Marshall, Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State.
Did Marshall lose their coach?
Their coach went to Southern Miss.
Oh.
They
remember how bad it was at the end of the year?
Marshall won the conference last year, got rid of their coach. He went to Southern Miss and brought like half of the Marshall team to Southern Miss with him. Marshall has like nothing going for them. And as you mentioned with Rich Rod and Jacksonville State, so, he was real successful for 2 years. He brought anybody worth keeping, he brought with him to West Virginia. So Sam Houston, Marshall, and Jacksonville State are 3 teams I'm looking to bet against early in the season because they just don't have anybody. Like they are not the same team because everybody left. Exactly what we were talking about earlier in the show with the transfer portal. Everybody transferred up, and those teams are gutted.
I have heard, because where I am in Southeast Ohio, I'm only 45 minutes from Athens, so OU, and we're only about an hour and a half from Columbus, and I'm about an hour and a half from West Virginia, from Morgantown. So I've heard a lot of people are West Virginia or Ohio State fans, of course, and I've heard some people that went to practice and say West Virginia's gonna be really bad this year.
I believe it. I believe it. It's going to take a minute. And by the way, I looked at their schedule. They play Bob Morris week 1, Ohio on the road week 2, and then they play Pitt week 3. So,
and is it Ohio State then after that?
No. Then they get into conference play. They play Kansas, Utah, BYU. No, then they're in conference play. So those are their only 3.
There's somebody that has a crazy schedule, and one of them is Ohio State. It's like, dude, it might be a MAC school, and I'm like, dude, somebody freaking hated them. Was like, hey, you need a payday? Here you go.
Paycheck really worth it there, guys? Is it really worth it?
I still don't understand what West Virginia is doing playing at OU. Like, okay, if you play at Marshall, you're within your state, you're on the opposite side of the state, so then you can pull something like that. But you're playing like OU. I mean, that is really Ohio State country.
Oh, it's Ohio. No, it's Ohio that plays Ohio State.
Oh, okay, that's
not right. Yeah,
brutal.
Yeah, God, there's a few of them. I feel like Ole Miss plays somebody like a mid-major team on the road. Like my brain is mush because of yesterday. But there's like 3 or 4 power 4 teams that are playing true road games this year against mid-major teams, and it's weird. And it's like just looking at the schedule.
Who's sleeping with who to get them to go play? And for people that don't realize, a game day at Ole Miss brings in a ridiculous amount of money for the town, for the city. Like, so they play that's why they pay teams like OU or, like MAC teams to come play them there because they make so much more. Going on the road, they get nothing.
Dude, Mississippi State week 1 is playing at Southern Miss.
That's crazy.
Weird, right?
Still the coach there? No, he got let go. No, he's at UAB.
What's that?
Is Trent Dilfer still at UAB?
Yes. This is it. This is his last.
If he doesn't win,
what a joke he has been. They're so bad.
I think this is like it worked with Dion. Like it worked. I get it. Just because a guy has played in the NFL doesn't mean they'll be great coaches. And sometimes they get the benefit of the doubt instead of hiring a guy that's maybe worked his way into the coaching ranks for 30 years.
Hold on, did it work with Dion? Like I feel like the verdict is still out. Like they were pretty bad year 1. They were above average. They were a decent team last year, but he brought his son. He brought Travis Henry. He brought his offensive system. A lot of good coaches. Like I feel like this is
they were the worst team in college. They were the worst power team in college.
Oh, they were Purdue. They were Purdue level bad. I 100% get it. But like, if they're bad again this year, if they go 3-9 this year, and then he bolts, right? Then it's like, was that worth it? Did he really?
The economic for the school. I actually know somebody that's going to be a freshman. They brought their son from California because like they were like, oh, let's go look at it because they had all that exposure. And then of course you get out there. If you've ever been out to Denver or Boulder, like it is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, I bet.
Like, so it's like all you gotta do is get kids on campus, and it has worked to that extent. And at least they're relevant.
Listen, again, I agree for a very short snippet, but if we're going to step back and evaluate him as a coach, as a program builder, like taking the 10-year view, looking back, was Deion Sanders a good college football coach? They go 3-9 again this year, and then he splits and he doesn't coach again. Then the answer's got to be no. Like, were there short-term benefits to it? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But well,
I never thought he was going to be a lifer because.
But if he goes somewhere else, and then builds a program, that's fine. I have no beef with the man.
I still think he's going to be in the NFL. I think.
I don't think he can.
Maybe not. But I don't think he can coach. I just don't know if he wants to do this whole. To coach now, you have to recruit your team every year. Yeah. And to me, I think that's tough. Hey, let's talk a little baseball, Robert. Do you have anything?
You have to.
Do you like yesterday? I tried to talk Nick off it. He didn't listen to me. I said I thought the Nationals were setting big, and they won as a nice underdog yesterday. I don't like them today, but I told him his Cubs and the Mets are like teams that he should stay away from. Because they're both the same type of team. First half of the season, or even in more than half the season, to the All-Star game, they both were very solid, just dependable. They just went out there and did the job. Man, since then, they're just not the same team. And you look at the records, it still looks like they're a decent team because they're still, 6-7 games above 500. But if you look what they've done lately.
Yeah, what is it? Nick and Griffin that say don't catch a falling knife. That's been the Mets for the last month, and there's just no.
They're favored again today. The Cubs, Cubs are favored. What is going on here? How would you, unless you're a Cubs fan, how would any better have any confidence in this Cubs team?
Big public team. Bottom line, big public team. The Angels haven't been very good, but they've been super feisty, and they've been great in this underdog role all season. You kind of have the better pitcher on the mound. Obviously, all the value is with the Angels, but you know how it is. As we get later in the season, as we get closer to the playoffs, the numbers on those teams that are fighting for playoff spots, not the guys at the top, not the guys that have clincher spots, but in the National League, those 5 teams that are going for the wild card, their numbers, they're going to be taxed an extra 20 cents. Okay, because they're must-win games. Yeah. They have to win. So that's what the public is going to go with, but that's not reality. Like I always say, bad teams put themselves in must-win situations. Good teams just win. They don't put themselves in must-win situations. So this is a perfect example with the Angels. But
I thought the Cubs hit early, they were hitting way outside of what their average, what you would expect going in. And the Mets were pitching, I think, above their heads
1,000%. Yep.
Both have switched and come back, as they say, back to the mean. Averages are the averages for a reason over the course of the year. And now where does that end up? But the problem is when you're on, like you said, is when the team's on the downside, but you're still having to pay the tax because they're a team that needs that becomes extra. It's okay if you're like, hey, this is a good team playing well. Okay, I might pay that tax a little bit. I don't want to pay the tax on a team that's 12 games below 500 since the All-Star break.
Nostalgia Man saying in the comments, imagine if the Braves swept the Mets. I don't have to imagine it. I've seen it 1,000 times in my nightmares and in reality over the last 30 years. The Braves own the Mets. And not for nothing, 2 things real quick. I have told you I'm not going to fully flesh it out here, but that I have a superpower, an honest to God, legitimate superpower, the kiss of life. I gave it to the Braves 2 weeks ago when Nolan was on Doc's Daily, and I was trashing the Braves. And I even said it to him because Nolan knows about my superpower. I was like, dude, I haven't texted you or said anything to you about this because I know as soon as I do, I'm going to activate the kiss of life. They are 11-4. They are 11-4 since I made that comment. The other day, Monday, when I was trashing Detroit, right? Going down all the numbers for the Tigers about how they've been a bad, mediocre team. They swept the ass, just bet Detroit. I have activated them with my superpower with the kiss of life. I am going to lose that bet to Lenny that they are going to get to 95 wins for that. And it has nothing to do with the Tigers and everything to do with the kiss of life and my superpower. So I'm not even joking. They're going to roll through Kansas City this weekend. Bet that series price, take them to win 2 out of 3 because it is going to happen. I have activated the Tigers. You're welcome, Lenny.
I kind of like the Red Sox a little today. Yesterday.
Oh, wait, time out. By the way, we thank you. We thank you. From the bottom of our heart, Robert, there's a gift basket coming, fruit basket. There's going to be a ribbon.
All day Monday. all day Monday while I was running through those numbers. I was like, I'm about to set these guys off. Did it with the Braves, doing it with the Tigers. It's not a joke. It's a real.
He'll take you out at 9 Mile, right? Isn't that the place? Detroit.
9 Mile, this guy. Hey, real quick though, we have breaking news in the NFL, and I made this, so you're gonna listen for 9 seconds. Okay, that's all. Yeah. Brian Robinson Jr., running back from the Washington Commanders, now is a San Francisco 49er. Commanders trade him to the Niners for a 6th round pick.
Good.
That's it.
Wow.
So essentially,
they needed depth there at San Francisco. So that's good.
Well, what's that say? So my question when I pose this is twofold. How does that affect fantasy owners? I mean, if you're drafting Christian McCaffrey, you're already like, now he's got, he has a which the NFL is a running back duo kind of atmosphere lately. Fantasy value, I think that affects your Niners people out there that are going to draft.
What did they start? 5 running backs last year, San Francisco. So they're probably like law of averages says Christian McCaffrey.
He's not a workhorse kind of guy, but essentially it's Debo and a 5th rounder for Brian Robinson Jr. and a 6th rounder. If you had to, and when you look at it that way, somebody I just saw that on Twitter, and I was like,
I'll let you go. I'll let you go first on this one, Craig.
I like the move if I'm San Francisco because obviously depth is this went from I thought one of the best like teams overall top to bottom 2-3 years ago because they weren't paying Purdy anything and it just allowed them to. Now that they're paying Purdy, it's like all the talent that has left there the last few years just doesn't leave them a whole lot of depth. Like things can't. Like if what happens last year with the injuries, this team's going to be really, really bad again because they don't have depth. So I like this. The Commanders, I think this is probably a no lose for them. I mean, like they're not going to run the ball anyway unless it's their quarterback. So
they still have Austin Eckler in that backfield and another young guy. So I know I just saying that team is going young.
I think it's weird what happened with him. Like I kind of agree with you, Lenny. Like they have a couple other guys, but like. Brian Robinson's a good young player. This is obviously one of those things. He was not happy with his role and was being a problem behind the scenes. And that's why they had to get him out of it. Because from a football standpoint, it doesn't make sense that they would cut bait with a guy. Like you need depth. And from the 49ers, I agree with Craig. Like I think it's a really good move. Like you saw what happened after McCaffrey got hurt and went out. Like, he's not getting any younger. He's not getting any less injury prone. So instead of giving him, 300 carries or 275 carries, if they can keep his carries around 180 and 60 catches, right? And now you kind of distribute those other things with a good young running back like that. I think it fits their scheme, their running scheme really well. I also sense, to Craig's point, I sense a little bit of desperation out of San Francisco. I don't like them.
Absolutely.
I think they are going to lose at Seattle. I think just based on what I have seen so far through training camp, Seattle has looked a lot better, more aggressive, like more complete team, more ready to go than San Francisco does right now. And San Francisco laying points on that game. Last I saw, I think Seattle was +1 in that game. That'll be on my card. That number is going to change. If you like Seattle in that game, I would bet that money line at plus money now because they are not going to be the underdog when that game.
That's a good point.
I also think Robinson will take that short yardage, punishment so that McCaffrey doesn't have to because like you just throw it up in there to get a yard on a small guy like that that's been injured a lot. Now you can use him a little bit, and I think that the more I like this, the more I kind of put it through my head a little bit. I still think they're the 3rd best team in that division, in my opinion. I like the Rams to win that division. I think Seattle and them are going to be fighting for the 2nd spot. I
worry about Matt Stafford's
healthy.
back.
Like
I worry about Matty.
I always just assume guys are going to find a way to be healthy until they're not. Like kind of.
I'm buying Arizona a little bit in that division.
I hear a lot of sharp stuff about them, and I'm not a Kyler Murray fan.
No, he's a loser.
Not at all. But I do like that team. I still think the little fella's a problem there.
Anytime you have to put in a quarterback's thing that. Basically he needs to show up to practice and to do film study. They did take it out of the contract, but there's not one in any other great quarterback for a reason. Like,
Oh,
these are
He
usually
knew
guys that
the
are the most.
playbook the way he knows the Call of Duty maps. It would be a different game. But I'm going to say this, and then I'll let you guys get back to it. We'll leave out of here. But I think Christian McCaffrey is seriously overrated. And I've been saying this
come
to Prince
on,
for years.
Come
What
on,
has he done in the last 4 years? He's
Dude,
been
2 years ago,
the
he
MVP.
was almost the MVP.
Did he win the MVP? Like,
no, dude, he can't go he can't go see end to end.
Overrated. He is a Hall of Famer.
Not a Hall of Famer.
Overrated. Oh God,
he's going to the Hall of Fame. I don't know how to tell you this, but he is going to the Hall of Fame.
I wouldn't vote for him if I had to
He's
vote.
going to be in the Hall of Fame, even though he didn't play along his career. Because at the time he was playing for a 4 or 5 year period, he was the best in the league. Same way with Christian McCaffrey, over a 4 year period, he's been the best in the league. Now injuries are going to be his kryptonite, but that's kind of can be any.
Injuries always been his kryptonite. I don't think he's ever finished a game.
The 1 year he was.
I don't think he's ever finished the game.
I don't think he's ever finished the season.
His first year in San Francisco, right? That was like that was.
Yeah, they traded him mid-season, and he was awesome.
He was still the best.
So 1, 2. He said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8 years he has played. He's played at least 16 games. Okay, like he's only been hurt 2 years.
It's just the recent
2020 and 2022. Oh, and last year. So no, actually, sorry, not 2020 and last year were the only seasons that he played less than 16 games.
Yeah.
Like, no, he's
I mean, last year he was hurt a lot. The year before he got banged up towards the end of the season, but he was trying to play through it.
But he had 1,500 yards.
Yeah. Oh, but all those were early. Like his first 10 games. San
Francisco smoke and mirrors.
His first 10 games 2 years ago were like, oh my goodness. Every fantasy owner was like, oh my God, this guy's the best thing to slice bread. Then he kind of got a little banged up, and they had the division wrapped up, so they were like trying to like, hey, can we stay healthy through the playoffs and trying to
takes games off.
All right.
I might be a better fantasy owner. I might be
Daily. I did not see this going this way.
I thought he was going to say that Micah Parsons either got traded or signed, or that Trey Higginson got traded or signed. So I was definitely not seeing like the breaking news being Brian Robinson going to the 49ers.
That's fair. All right. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Finish
All
it
right,
up.
Robert, who's the first guy that plays? That does Micah Parsons sign and up for
Henderson? They're way again, like we talked about yesterday. They're closer to a deal. They're just haggling over the guaranteed money. Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. Like, you just listen to the nonsense coming out of that thing. Like, that doesn't sound like it's anywhere close.
What does he want?
Hold on. Jerry Jones just said yesterday, I read in a clip where he was talking to the public, where he said that nobody values Micah Parsons more than him. And he's made Micah Parsons an offer to make him the most highest paid player outside of a quarterback in NFL history. And he said, no, I'm telling you, he will never play another snap in a Cowboy jersey.
Well, what does he want though? Like if that's true.
Out of Dallas.
No, but I mean, okay, what it sounds like he agreed to it and then his agent got involved and didn't. But like, dude, if they're going to because right now the highest paid player outside of offense is the guy from the Browns.
Right? Myles Garrett, Max Crosby. Actually, didn't Watt pass him?
Oh yeah, because he signed after. It's always the last guy. So I think Garrett and then Watt just got signed in training camp. So,
and actually, isn't Jamar Chase in the 40s now too?
Well, I was saying outside of offense.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant outside of quarterback.
I don't know that.
I would say, I mean, dude, if you get
look, if Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons are smart, they would get away from both of those teams. I'm sorry, I know you're a Bengals fan. I don't want to say that, but like, they should get away from both of those loser organizations. Those organizations are losers. They should.
I'm all in on Gordon Young on defense for the Bengals because I don't think it's going to matter if he's there or not. I think we're going to suck on defense. Let's just go all in, protect Joe Burrow, and score 50 a game. Like that's
he sounds like a Lions fan right there. That's some logic.
Arena League football. They're going to put the nets up around
because when you draft young guys and you pay them, some of those young guys could be the next Trey Hendrickson. Now then you got to, after the rookie contract, you got to find a way to pay them. But like to me, I would rather go all young guys instead of trying to haggle with them over years. Now it's not going to happen. They're going to figure out a way to probably pay him.
Same thing, though. Not for nothing, but again, this is why the Bengals are kind of losers. Like, they should have been able to sniff out this problem earlier in the season. They should have been shopping Trey Hendrickson. They should have not signed T. Higgins to the deal, and they should have traded Hendrickson to a team for like a receiver and a draft pick. something like that. Then taking that
Yeah,
money.
but I think Joe Burrow went to the staff and said, listen, you're going to sign Chase and you're going to sign T. Higgins, or I'm going to be wanting out of here. So they had to do that. That was
and that's fine though. But in the meantime, to Robert's point, you should have been shopping him all along.
Oh, I think they were, because
you know,
Hendrickson's, they gave him the right to go even shop it as well. There's not a lot of teams stepping up that want to pay him, that not only want to trade him, they don't want to just trade. Like, he doesn't want to just go to a team. He wants to get traded and get paid.
Yeah, I don't know what the Packers are doing. Like, the Packers should have traded Romeo Doubs, a first rounder, and like a fourth rounder for Hendrickson, and then signed him.
There's only 4 teams that have enough money to trade for either one of them and pay them. So it's not like there's lots of options at this point of the year. Like, you know, like maybe
I've heard rumbles in Detroit of giving up Brian Branch in a trade package for him, and I'm absolutely against that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. No way.
I absolutely like that. I love that young defense kind of in the back there. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, those kids, those guys are going to be good for a minute, and I like that young boomstick kind of 1-2 punch there. It's like the defensive version of David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs.
The Falcons should give up like Kyle Pitts. Oh, they already traded next year's first round pick to get a guy, but like they've needed a pass rusher for 15 years. You know, they should be making a move.
But I don't think they have the money. I don't think that was one of the teams.
That's what I'm saying. They'd have to trade a couple guys.
They'd have to trade guys.
They'd have to trade like Kyle Pitts and another defensive starter, right? And a draft pick, make the money work, and then sign on, you know, I don't know.
Which I don't think the Bengals want. I think the Bengals would rather like maybe a lesser paid guy, but then a bunch of draft picks, because their thing is we're going to have to be cheap on our defense. Only way to be cheap on your defense is draft, because once you
I give him a first round pick straight up for him right now. Handshake, high five, tap on the ass, whatever you want.
I don't think they're getting a first round pick for him.
Though. The Bengals know anything, it's being cheap. That's for sure.
I'm saying as a Lions fan, I would.
I know, but I don't think there's any team out there willing to give up a first round pick for Trey Hendrickson at this point. It was like at his age. That's so true. I think it's more like a second round and a third round, something like that, which I think the Bengals would do. It's just that what team wants to step up to pay him the money too. Like it's not just trade to get. If this guy had 3 years more deal on his deal, okay, and has already gotten the contract, that's a different story. It's like, that's not the case here. He's got to get paid too. That's what he wants. So, all right. So that's Docs Daily for today. Don't forget, if you haven't done so, make sure you check out our football passes. They're on sale, $749. Get you all the way through the Super Bowl. Robert, explain the 2-for-1, because I always kind of messed it up.
I'll do you one better. It's even a 3-for-1. So you sign up with Craig Trapp's full season football package, taking advantage of that $749 early bird special, and then using the free $60 on top of that to get it down under $700. Boom, you're locked in with Craig for the whole season. Congratulations. We also give you the option of picking 2 other guys. So say me and say Rafael Esparza, okay? You then get all 3 of our picks for 3 weeks. I believe it's through week 2 of the NFL season, and you can test drive all 3 of our picks. Maybe after the end of those 3 weeks, you're like, you know what? I signed up with Craig, but I kind of like Robert's picks better. I want to go with him. Boom. You get to switch over and go with me for the rest of the season. Or if you're like, you know what? I kind of like Craig and Robert's picks. Call in. We will cut you like a stupid deal, and you can have all of our picks, and you can get them. So it's a way for you to test out different handicappers, different styles, different approaches to find the guy that's right for you. And we're one of the only companies, we might be the only company that does something like that. So that's
and remember, we're the only one, and I've been doing this forever, a long time, and owned the website for a long time. No one has customer service. We have customer service 7 days a week. So you can call the number on the website and call in. You can they'll process your payments. They'll help you, whatever you need.
They'll speak to a human, no AI, no like hit 3 if you need this, hit 2 if you need that. No, you will talk to an actual human. We're kind of old school like that.
Yeah. So that's like, you know, like you have an issue, someone actually will pick the phone up and say how to walk you through it, show where to get the picks, whatever you need, they will walk you through it, or by email if that's what you'd rather as well. So
15 minutes. What are the odds? Me and Rafael Esparza are going to be talking college football.
And then tonight, betting outside the box at what time?
6 o'clock Eastern. So what are the odds? In about 15 minutes, you got enough time to go get coffee, take a leak if you need to. We'll be back here. And then at 6 o'clock Eastern, Betting Outside the Box, me, Raphael, Craig Trapp's joining us. We're talking NFL coming up, week 0, college football, and overrated fast food because we all like food. Good luck unless you're against us. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock my time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, Griffin and I.
Good luck with football.
Good luck. What?
Good luck with football this weekend.
Thanks. You too. Unless you're against me. Good luck unless you're against me. Goodbye.